Into match number 11, we go now over in League 2 with a new leader. That's right, sitting at the top of the table. Who are we talking about? Well, I'll tell you next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at, of course, match number 11 in the EFL. Of course, we're focusing on League 2, that's right, with the leader sitting top of the tree. Who is it? Well, I'll tell you in just a second. If you know where you've been, hit the old subscribe. You want to subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, League 2. Whoa, football, we're all here under one roof. See, that's right, the sadness. They're back where they belong. That's right, top of the table. Goodness gracious me. And of course, they're sitting pretty with a 1-point clearance over Ian Holloway's Swindon Town. That's right, but who will be there at the end of this coming match day? Well, we'll take a look at it, all of it in a second. If you're new, hit the old subscribe. And a big shout out once again to the members and the patrons. You know who you are. So let's get into it then. Of course, recap the results from this past weekend. And of course, look forward to this weekend's drama. I thought it was a double match week in League 2, but I was wrong. But anyway, we're going to revisit those results. Of course, my picks are on the left, the real deal is on the right. So showcase you. Here we go. Starting with Crewe's 2-1 win over Notts County with a 2-0 win. Oldham did draw with Barnet 1-1. Got that one spot on the nose. Walsall did beat Stanley 3-1. I went with a 2-1. Bristol Rovers just picked out a big win for over Salford 2-1. With a 2-2 on that one. Crawley losing at home to Barrow. Big win for the Barrow there. Chesterfield 4-1 winners over Newport County. They're on the move. Gillingham, though, lost to Harrogate, which was a bit of a surprise. Fleetwood Town picking up a 4-2 win over Colchester United. Grimsby putting 7. I say 7. That's Cheltenham Town, of course. And Shrewsbury losing at home to MK Dons. Swindon picking up a 2-0 win over Bromley. And Tranmere and Cambridge 0-0. So that's the state of play in the last weekend's games. This, of course, is the table as you see it. It is Walsall, top of the chart. Swindon Town in second spot. And Gillingham occupy the third. In the playoffs, we have Salford, Grimsby, Chesterfield, and Bristol Rovers going down, deeper and down. It's Cheltenham, new manager incoming there. Shrewsbury in a lot of trouble. But of course, it is a little tight down there with likes of Colchester, Crawley also in that region, in that drop zone right there. So let's kick off forward to the next round of games. And of course, yeah, just to remind you, we are doing a prediction league. Of course, I did give you an update last time around. I'll give you an update very soon, of course. We've got the international break around the corner, so it gives me a bit more time to keep up with such things. So check out, keep on doing your thing, guys. And of course, see if you can challenge the leaders in the moment. So we're going to get into the deep end now, and they're all coming at you this coming weekend. Kick it all off on the 4th of October. I'm going to starting with a trip to MK Dons. That's right, Stadium MK. Paul Warner's the coach there, 9th in the table right now, 15 points for them, just one win in the last 6 matches. Up against the Gills and the Gareth Ainsworth, they sit third, 21 points. Of course, Gareth Ainsworth will not be at the dugout. Of course, some medical situation for GA right now, so we wish him the best of luck. But they do come into this on the back of a defeat. They've taken on MK Dons 30 times since the year 2000. 13 wins for Gillingham, 11 wins for MK Dons. There's been 6 draws. The last 2 between these two sides ended up with back-to-back 1-0 wins for the Gills. That's right. So back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets. In fact, they've only lost once against MK Dons in the last 5 matches. They do come into this, though, on the back of that 1-0 loss to Harrogate. MK Dons picking up a 2-1 win over Shrewsbury Town. The bookies do lean in favour of MK Dons for this one. I think it's going to be a tight one. I'm going to go with a 1-1 scoreline right down the middle, with, of course, the GA factor also playing its part. Meanwhile, Newport County taking on Swindon over in Wales. That's right, David Hughes' boys are 22nd. They're coming into this with just 5 points to their name. They're winners in the last 10, which equals 8% form over the last 6. Swindon, though, coming into this on the back of just 1 defeat in the last 6. They do sit second with 83% form and are taking on Newport County 18 times to 2014. 10 wins, Swindon, 7 wins, Newport. There's been 1 draw. They last played in Wales. It was a 2-1 win for Swindon back in January 2025. Swindon doing the double over Newport County last season. They're also coming into this on the back of a 2-0 win over Bromley. Newport County losing to Chesterfield convincingly 4-1. I'm going to go with, the bookies are going with Swindon, as am I. 2-1 winners, another win for Holloway's boys, and of course they remain them in the top 3 spots. Barrow, they're taking on Shrewsbury Town, coming at you over at Barrow. Andrew Wing's boys are 17th right now, 12 points for them, back-to-back wins. Up against the Shrews under Michael Appleton, just 1 win in the last 6 games. They're down to 23rd with 5 points to their name. They've taken on Barrow just the once. It was back in 2002. And it was a 3-1 win for Shrewsbury back in December in the FA Cup. So this is the first encounter. Barrow, though, on the back of that 2-1 win over Crawley, that's back-to-back wins for them. And of course, a return to their home stadium. And the last patch they played there resulted in a 1-win over Crewe. The Shrews, though, on the back of that 2-1 loss to MK Dons. And they are struggling right now. This is a tight one, but Shrewsbury are the underdogs with Barrow the favourites. I'm going to go with a 2-0 winners. Barrow with a bit of form right now. Shrewsbury look next, I think, to change their manager over in League 2. Bromley next up there, taking on Tranmere Rovers. Coming over at Bromley. Andy Woodman's boys are doing all right in 14th right now. 14 points to them, however, winless in the last 4. Up against Tranmere under Andrew Cosby, they are 18th with 10 points, just 1 win in the last 6. Now, these two sides have played 8 times since 2015. 7 wins for Tranmere, nothing for Bromley. There has been 1 draw. They last played at Bromley. It was a 2-1 win for Tranmere back in October 2024. Tranmere are 4 wins on the spin against Bromley in the coming into on the back of a draw against Cambridge. Bromley losing away to Swindon most recently, but they're fancied by the bookies on this one. I think I'm going to go with something. I think Bromley will not lose this game. I'm going to go with a draw right down the middle, point apiece. In a bit of a mid-table crunch clash at the moment. Cambridge United up against Crawley Town. That's right, Cambridge under Neil Harris. They sit 10th right now with that's 50% form for them. 1-2 lost 2 and drawn 2 over the last 6. They got 15 points up against Crawley, who are down to 21st. 8 points for them. Back-to-back defeats, of course, under Scott Lindsay. They have played 26 times since 2005. Got 10 wins Cambridge, 12 wins Crawley. There's been 4 draws. They last played at this venue. It was a 1-0 win for Crawley back in August 2024. That was, of course, in League 1. Crawley, though, losing to Barrow most recently. Cambridge on the back of a 0-0 score against Tranmere to make it back-to-back games without a goal. The bookies back Cambridge, as do I. 2-1 winners for Harris's lads. That's right. Let's go to Cheltenham. That's right. Under Fleetwood against Fleetwood Town. It says Aaron Downs is the coach here, but it looks like Steve Cotterill is back, or probably will be back for this game. They're rock bottom, 24th with 4 points. Up against Fleetwood, Pete Wild's boys are 11th, 15th points for them. 1-1 loss for Drew over the last 3. They've taken on Cheltenham 12 times since 2012. They've won 5. Cheltenham have won 4. There's been 3 draws. They last played at this venue. It was a 2-0 win for Fleetwood back in September 2024. Coming into Cheltenham on the back of that 7-1 loss to Grimsby, they've conceded 10 goals in the last 2. As for Fleetwood, on the back of that big 4-2 win over Colchester United, the bookies will back Fleetwood, but it could be a new manager bounce here for Cheltenham. I think they'll get something. No, I don't. I changed my mind. It looks like 1-0 wins for Fleetwood. Maybe that new manager bounce is not there yet. I do think they're going to be okay in regards to safety. I think they'll get themselves out of it with this new manager bounce. I think it's been warranted, and I think they're going to make that move at the right time. Meanwhile, Colchester up against Chesterfield. That's right. Danny Cowley's boys are 20th with 8 points for them, but they win us in the last 4. Just 1 win in the last 6. Up against Chesterfield under Paul Cook. They're back in business, sitting in 6th with 18 points, but also just 1 win in the last 6. They played 18 times in 2003. 7 wins Colchester, 5 wins Chesterfield. There's been 6 draws. They last played at this venue. It was a 1-0 win for Colchester, who are unbeaten against Chesterfield over the last 4. 4 of the last 6 between these two sides have ended up all square. Chesterfield, though, on the back of that 4-1 win over Newport County. Colchester on the back of a 4-2 defeat to Fleetwood Town. The bookies will go with Chesterfield. I think I am as well. I don't think Cowley's got much time left in that tank as well. And I think they could also be making a change in the manager department very soon. Barnet taking on Accrington Stanley. That's right. Dean Brennan's boys are 15th with 14 points for them, unbeaten the last 3. Up against Accrington Stanley under John Doolan, they've won 2 of the last 3. They sit 19th with 9 points. Now they've taken on Barnet 27 times in 2003. 6 wins for the hosts, 13 wins for the visitors. There's been 8 draws. They last played at Barnet, resulting in a 1-1 scoreline back in February 2018. Barnet on the back of another 1-1 scoreline against Oldham most recently. Accrington Stanley losing to table toppers Walsall. The odds for this one, Barnet, of course, heavily backed for this. I'm going to go with them as well. 2-1 winners, going with the bookies and seeing if, of course, they'll pick up the W. Meanwhile, Harrogate taking on Crewe, coming at you over at Harrogate, or is it? I've got a little bit of a disclaimer here. I don't know if it's going ahead or not. But let me just have a little dig down. We're gonna take a look at it just in case it is going ahead. I don't know why I'm getting a bit of an error, but they are scheduled to take place on the 6th of October. I believe played 7 times since 2002. 4 wins Crewe, 3 nothing for Harrogate. There's been 3 draws. Harrogate coming in is winning 3 of the last 4. They sit 16th right now, 14 points. Up against Crewe, 1 win in the last 4. They sit 8th with 16 points to their name. They last played at this venue, being a 1-1 scoreline way back in February 2025. Crewe on the back of a 2-1 over Notts County. Harrogate picking up a back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets Of course, beating Gillingham last time around. No odds for this one. It's a tight one. Harrogate's form is pretty good. Going to go with a 1-0 win for them right now to see if they can move up the ladder as well. Notts County taking on Oldham, coming at you this coming weekend on the 4th. Martin Patson's boys are 12th with 14 points. They've won 3 and they've lost 3. Up against Oldham and Mickey Mellon, they are 13th with 14 points. They're unbeaten in the last 4, picking up 3 wins out of the last 4. They've taken on Notts County 20 times since 1994. 5 wins Notts County, 7 wins Oldham. There's been 8 draws. They last played over at Notts County 4-1 as it was back in December 2022 to Notts County. Notts County, they're losing to Crewe, most recently Oldham, on the back of a draw against Barnet. Bookies will go with Notts County. I think I will as well. It's one of those 2-1 winners, not much in it, but I'm going to back the host. Salford City against Grimsby. That's a game. Of course, coming over at Salford. Carl Robinson's boys are 4th with 19 points to the name. Just 1 defeat in the last 6 up against Grimsby. 1 defeat in the last 5. They sit 5th with 18 points. They've taken on Salford 10 times since 2019. 4 wins Grimsby, 4 wins Salford. 2 draws between the two sides. They last played at this venue, being a 2-1 win for Grimsby back in October 2024. In fact, the home side's only won once the last 6 between these two sides. Salford losing to Bristol Rovers most recently. Grimsby putting 7 past Cheltenham last time around. The bookies will go with Salford, but Grimsby are a team to fear. Going to go with a 1-1 scoreline because it is quite tight between them at the moment. Walsall taking on in-form Bristol Rovers. That's right, coming at you over at the Bescott. Walsall top of the table right now. Of course, 22 points for them. They've won 5 of the last 6, unbeaten in at least the last 6. Up against Bristol Rovers, also just 1 defeat, 5 wins the last 6, unbeaten the last 8. They sit 7th and 70 points. They've clicked into gear, have Bristol Rovers. They played Walsall 20 times in 2006, 7 wins apiece, 6 draws. They last played over at the Bescott. It was a 2-1 win for Bristol Rovers, who've won 3 on the bounce against Walsall. They're on the back of a 2-1 win over Salford. Walsall picking up the 3-1 win over Stanley. Tight, airtight. Walsall fancied by the bookies on this one. I think I've got to go with it as well. They've kicked into gas right about now. And of course, we'll put a statement result against a fellow promotion chaser. And if I'm right, this is what the table will look like, guys. It will be Swindon Town top of the tree there with 24 points. Walsall into 2nd spot and Gillingham down to 3rd, of course. Salford City, Chesterfield, Grimsby and Cambridge make up the playoffs with the Shrews and Cheltenham going down. Don't forget, the Prediction League is on like Donkey Kong, so get involved with that. And of course, we'll bring you bang up to date with it very, very soon. But until then, subscribe, smash a like. I'll catch you later when we return. But until then, we're done.